So listen, we have discussed about the concept called as interpretation of statutes. Interpretation of statutes. So in that particular interpretation of statutes, we have discussed about the rules of interpretation. Out of that, primary rules. Another one is the secondary rules. So primary rules of interpretation. So literal interpretation, beneficial interpretation, harmonious interpretation. Okay, so there is a mischief. So mischief. So like that generally, sir, in case of primary rules of interpretation, rule of literal interpretation we have studied. So rule of beneficial interpretation we have studied. Rule of harmonious interpretation we have studied. Okay, sir. Mischief rule, that is nothing but which is related to the rule of beneficial. Beneficial another name, sir. So wait, sir. What are the primary rules we have studied? Primary rules. Primary rules of interpretation. First one is the rule of literal interpretation. Literal interpretation. Okay. So next one is a rule of beneficial interpretation. Rule of beneficial. So it is also called as a mischief. Another one is a rule of harmonious construction. Rule of harmonious construction. We have discussed in this all topics. Next one is the rule of reasonable interpretation. Rule of reasonable interpretation. So these are the four primary rules we have discussed in the last sessions. And we are also completed what are the internal aids also. Okay, sir. So external aids that can be uploaded in our video, go through with that video, that is sufficient for the external aids. Okay, sir. Now, no problem. Again, I will discuss, no problem. Today, sir, we are concentrate on secondary rule of interpretation. Secondary rules of interpretation. So, what are the secondary rules of interpretation? So, mainly, sir, first one is nocitor associs. Nocitor associs. Next one is the rule of agestum generis. Agestum generis. Next one is the contemporanea expositio. Contemporanea expositio. Okay, so these are the main, sir. We'll discuss four there, but out of that, these are the main. Nocitor associs, agestum generis, and contemporanea expositio. So, what is these secondary rules? What is the contemporanea expositio? Okay, sir. What is a nocitor associs? First of all, what is the meaning of nocitor associs? First of all, first we have discussed about nocitor associs. So what is meant by nocitor associs? Sir, it is a Latin word. It's a Latin word, is a combination of two words. One is a nocitor, another one is socis. So what is a nocitor? Nocitor का meaning क्या है sir? Nocitor means to know. सोर्सेस का मीनिंग क्या है सर? एसोसिएशन. So what's up to know from the association? To know from the association. To know from the association, this is nothing but nocitor associates. Sir, what is the situation? So simple. Whenever the words used in the statute is an unclear word or unclear phrase, so there's an unclear word, an ambiguous word is an ambiguous word, we are not able to determine that particular word, then at that point of situation we can determine the particular word based on their surrounding word. Whenever two words are using, means multiple words, two words are having, means put together, when the two words are using put together, then two words are having the similar meaning. Yes, sir, two words are having. So whenever one word, one phrase is having is a unclear meaning, undoubtful meaning, and ambiguity meaning is there, then how to determine the word, the particular word meaning? That particular word meaning can be determined by their associated word. So there is nothing but nocitor associates. ये क्या है sir? Listen. How you can determine that? So nocitor associates. The rule states that, listen, sir, the rule states that the word known by associated word, the word of statute derived meaning from the word surrounding them. The word in a statute, the meaning of such word, we can be derived from, we cannot go through with the ordinary meaning. Suppose a plant and missionary, plant and missionary, sir. So in this situation, plant, so plant word का meaning अलग अलग है, more than two meanings are there. Then how you determine this word plant meaning? Based on dictionary you can determine the word plant meaning. Suppose in case in Kerala, so you can apply depreciation on plant. Every year you can apply 10% depreciation on plant. अभी क्या करेगा आप क्या करेगा सर? Sir, one of the person in that particular organization, he can count the what, how many plants are there in that particular organization. What MBA of surrounding law, suppose so many plants on a coconut plant is there. Okay, so many plants, so they can count it as 50 to 60 plants are there. We can have 50, 10% depreciation on that plant. Like the plant is the meaning OBI. But you cannot derive the plant is nothing but like that. So why? Because it's a questionable. There's ambiguity. There's not giving clear, correct meaning. You have to know the intention of the lawmaker. Whenever you can derive the word of plant meaning based on this associated word. That is the meaning of nocitor associates. So the meaning of word is judged by a company it keeps. It is a legitimate rule of construction to construe words and act of parliament with reference to the words found in immediate connection with them. In the act of parliament, some words are used. The words meaning how you can determine the words which are immediately connected with them, associated with them. There is nothing but nocitor associates. So plant and tree. Plant and tree is there. Then how this plant is nothing but here the plant is nothing but that is which is related to the environment. So like that, the word meaning can be determined based on its associated word. There is nothing but nocitor associates. Some examples. The word plant is used in the plant and machinery, and same word used in the plant and flower has obviously different meaning. Obviously, yes. The word drawing is a used along with the words work of art in a statute. The only drawings are drawing in the sense in case of capital. Okay, so in case of capital, drawing in the sense what? Drawing is nothing but so many situations. Draw means such situations in accounting point of view. Draw means you can withdraw. So engineering works point of a draw means you can draw a lines or picture like that. So based on its associated word, you can be determined. Sir, here steps and states. इसमें steps का मतलब क्या है? Sir, steps is nothing but which are walking states. Sir, in case of steps and movement of a person. So steps and movement is nothing. So whenever you want to, in case of any statute, you have to determine the word meaning. Whenever the word is not having clear, there's a question. Then at that point, as the word's meaning can be determined based on their associated word that is called as a nocitor associus. This is a one of the secondary rule of interpretation. Yes, a nocitor associus. Next is everyone is clear. Nocitor associus. Next one. So next one is, what is the next one here? Another situation. So another rule of interpretation, agisdem generis. Another rule of interpretation, agisdem generis. So what is meant by agisdem generis? So इसका मतलब क्या है? So it means same kind or nature. Same kind or nature. There is nothing but agisdem generis. So in case of any statute or any law, they give a list of items, a list of persons, or list of things. They can give a list of items, a list of persons, a list of things, a list of classes. This concept is used to clarify such a list. Okay, so this concept is used to clarify such. Suppose simple, but so motorcycles, trucks, bus, okay, so and etc. So whenever the etc. what is mentioned in this particular situation, what happens? Then whenever motorcycle, truck, bus, and etc., you should mention an aeroplane here. You can mention ship here. So whenever the etc. what is using, that word can be utilized. The word can be filled based on that words are similar words, the same things, same kind of nature words. Those words can be utilized, sir, not but the different words what you wanted to use. You cannot use such type of words. Agisdem generis, sir. So when this law, this particular rule is applicable, similar kind of nature and etc. you are mentioning, this etc. can be filled with a similar kind of nature of words only. Whenever this rule, this rule is applicable, simple, sir. So there is a general words and specific words are there. General words are follow the specific words. Then general words are also having the same meaning. And the legislation law is also they cannot give the proper meaning related to that. Proper means they are not conclude the proper conclusion list related to that. Then this agisdem generis is applicable. Same kind and same nature. So how this one is there? Go through with that material that is easy to understand. What is agisdem generis? The rule of interpretation is a useful tool in construction of general words. It is also known as rule of law tenders. Agisdem generis means same kind, species, class, or nature. The rule suggested that general words following the special words should be construed with the reference of previous words and meaning should be narrowed down. General words are following special words, then this general words meaning is also based on the special words only. First examples, go through with that. So where arm, ammunitions, or gunpowder or any other goods. So here other goods will be include any other goods similar to arms, ammunitions, and gunpowder. Sir, arms, ammunitions, gunpowder, and any other goods means any other goods का मतलब क्या है which is related to this, related to the means soldiers are using arms, weapons like that, ammunitions, gunpowder like that. So instance, if the words oxen, bulls, cows, buffaloes, goats, sheep, and horses, and then ends with the word etc. Here the general word etc. will not include wild animals. These are all are normal animals, sir. Friends, oxes, bulls, cows, buffaloes, goats, sheep, and all. These are all the animals which are in our day-to-day life. We are together with that particular animals. Etc. means you cannot add a lion, a tiger. You cannot add those words. This not means wild animals. These are all are normal human related means which are related to the animals. So motor power vehicles are mentioned. So cars, motors, bikes, and etc. The motor powered vehicle is mentioned. You should add aeroplanes in that. No, sir. Limited sensor vehicle cannot be including airplanes. Like that, whenever the words are using, the etc. word is mentioned. That etc. word can be filled with similar kind of words, not with any other words. So whenever in this scenario, sir, whenever you wanted to apply this wisdom generis, what, sir? First of all, you have to know this all. The rule applies when this rule is applies. What is the specific words you can be mentioned? List of class of categories and like that. Class of categories is not exhausted by the list. General term follows the list. Indication of no different legislation intent. You have to find out so what are the words, a list of words are there. If there is any general definition is there in the particular word, like that you have to identify that, then you can apply this adjustum generis. So these are the two rules, sir. Nocitor associates. Nocitor associates means what answer? The word meaning. The meaning can be determined based on this associated word. So adjacent generis means similar kind of words can be used. Okay, so nocitor associates. Clear, sir? Next, sir. So rule of causes omissus. So rule of causes omissus means, sir, in case of statutes, so they can omit some words. So then some omit them words, the words cannot be used again and again. Best examples, while whenever we are discussed about that particular is in case of means a subsidiary company definition we have studied. That particular subsidiary company definition generally what happens more than half of paid up share capital. Then what happens paid up share capital words are omitted. Instead of that, they replace the words voting power. And also, sir, in case of share capital and debenture, share capital is in case of voting rights with differential voting rights. Then what happens, sir? 26% of post-issue paid-up share capital is there, but that word 26% of post-paid-up share capital is omitted. That can be replaced with 74% of post-issue paid-up total post-issue voting powers. Like that, what happens is whenever the words are framed, that words out of that word, some words are prohibited, some words are omitted. After that omission of that words, you cannot be used that particular words. It's called as causes omissus. Simple. Generally, the court is bound to harmonize the various provisions of the Act passed by the legislation during the interpretation. Sometimes certain matters might have been omitted in a statute. In such a cases, they cannot be added by construction as it amounts to making laws and amendment to the functions of legislature. A new provision cannot be added in a statute giving it meaning not otherwise found therein. So up to give the new meaning, whenever the some words are prohibited, omitted, you cannot use that words. Whenever they up to that, sir, they are giving any meaning, you should give that meaning. There is nothing but causes omissus. Clear as and also, sir, last one is last the secondary rule is nothing but contemporanea expositio. So what is meant by contemporanea expositio? So what is that contemporary expositio? Simple solution. So often so many circulars and trade notices are issued by respective departments and authorities on the basis of their understanding of law once the act is implemented. So okay, sir, income tax, sir. IBD means indirect tax board. IDBT means they are giving. Okay, sir, and also sir, income tax act. The board is there. They can give the rules and also, sir. In case of MCA, for Companies Act, they can give the rules. So like that here, any particular statute, the authorities are there, they're giving some circulars, some trade notices, respective departments, authorities on the basis of understanding of the law once the act is implemented. Whenever they can implement the act, they can give based on their understanding, they can give a notices. Interpretation statute in a circular and trade notice is called as contemporaneous exposition. This means contemporary exposition. Simple, sir. Whenever the interpretation is given by the authorities, in the form of in the form of trade notices and in the form of circulars, ye called as contemporaneous exposition. Okay, so the circulars issued by the authorities, that is the aid of construction. Whatever there in the circular, based on that rule only we can follow, unless otherwise anything is and come reasons. So unless otherwise anything is mentioned, whatever the circulars and trade notices given by the authorities, given by the departments, you have to interpret that particular word based on that circular and notice. This is called as contemporaneous exposition. These are the four basic rules for secondary rule of interpretation. One is nociter associs, another one is edesitum generis, another one is the rule of casus omissus, another one is contemporaneous exposition. Same kind of nature, similar words you can be used. After that, as a omit, you can after omission, you cannot remove it like that unless otherwise anything is intact, added to that, amended to that. So of the contemporary exposition means there is circulars and notices given by the department or the authorities on the basis of their understanding. Contemporary exposition. They can give interpretation, that is the aid of interpretation based on their interpretation in the circular notification and trade notice. We can follow that. It's nothing but contemporary exposition. These are all the secondary rules of interpretation and primary rules of interpretation. Everyone is clear? This is all about primary rules and secondary rules of interpretation. The four rules of primary rules, another one is secondary rules. Everyone is clear? These are the five primary rules of interpretation. That is nothing but secondary rules of interpretation. This is all about rules of interpretation. In this particular statute, sir, in this particular interpretation of statutes, we have discussed about internal aids and external aids concept. We have discussed about primary rules and secondary rules of concept. This is the interpretation of statutes, rules, and aids. So after that, sir, in case of definitions, we are already discussed about in the General Clauses Act also. The same thing we are having here. So definitions are generally definitions. So the definitions serve two purposes: inclusive definitions and exhaustive definitions. The definition which is words means and which is inclusive and means and includes. These are the three categories of definitions we have studied in the last session in General Clauses Act also. Companies Act, company means definition. Shares, share means share in a share, it includes stock also, and dividend definition, dividend includes interim dividend. Like that, in different statutes, we are having different type of definitions. These definitions are mainly either inclusive or exhaustive. The means definition, inclusive definitions, and means and inclusive definitions. Okay, so this is the best definitions related. And also some may shall words can be used. Some words may use, some words shall use, some words may use, but it can be treated as a shall. Some words shall can be used, that can be treated as a may. How, sir? In case of company, sir, section company may incorporated for lawful purpose. So may in the sense, sir, it is used the word may, but it's nothing but shall. Like that, some in case of statutes, if some words they can use the may, but it is interpretation as like a shall. Some words can use as a shall, but interpretation is a may. And so the word shall does not itself make provision of the act as mandatory. It has to be construed with the reference of the context. The word may statutory provision would not itself show the provision of the directory in nature, means optional in nature. This interpretation is there. May is understood as a shall or must, which provides a positive benefit to the general class subject to the utility of that. Yes, vice versa that can be used. And also, sir, whenever you can use some words, the reading of and or, ka matlab kya hai, sir, in case of using the statute, and means both the condition has to follow. Or means any one of the condition has to follow. This is the meaning whenever in case of and or are mentioned. The two provisions are separated by using conjunction and. They should have read conjunctively, which both should follow. Requirement of both provisions should be satisfied. Word or is used disjunctive. The word or is divided, separate in provision. Two clauses are separated. Out of that, any one is useful. That is okay. The ordinary uses are or and. Okay, so everyone is on and or situation. And also, so whenever you can read the definitions, some definitions they are using the words subjected. Some definitions they can use notwithstanding. So many times we have studied notwithstanding anything is mentioned in the partnership means agreement. There is then only you can follow the law. So notwithstanding anything is mentioned. So notwithstanding anything is mentioned, you should mention this word. So you should mention this word in the act. What's a notwithstanding? It's nothing but this. What is the impact of this sub means notwithstanding? Best example, notwithstanding in the sense it is called as overriding effect. Overriding effect. And we are already notwithstanding anything is mentioned. Whenever any means we are already studied about shifting of register office class one place to another place. There's a four possibilities we are already done in case of Companies Act, in case of Memorandum of Association, or then shifting of register office. Notwithstanding anything is mentioned. Any organization they wanted to shift the register office from outside the local limits, they can pass special resolution or not. Like the notwithstanding means it's an overriding effect, sir. And it said if they are mentioned, you should follow that one only. Nothing is mentioned, then you should follow act. There's nothing but subjected to means it does not have priority over other provision. Subjected to these conditions. And I said you should follow this. This you are not giving priority to that one. You are giving to priority. Subjected to means giving priority. Okay, sir. Subjected to some means is the term subjected to means the provision does not have priority over other provision. Subjected to like that you are mentioned, no. Above mention is not having priority. Whatever now you are mentioning, subjected to you are mentioning anything that is having some priority. Then subjected to means the provision does not have the priority over the other provision, while notwithstanding means the provision has overriding effect. Best example. So subject to the provisions of the act where appointment of managing director, whole-time director, manager is not approved by the company at general meeting. Any act done by him before such approval shall be deemed to be invalid. In case of any inconsistency or conflict between the non-abstention clause, near the provision, non-abstention clause will prevail. Okay, so following table explain the effect of detail. Simple, sir. Notwithstanding anything contained the specific section of the same act. Classes overriding the specific sections we met section 54A we already discussed about the means best example issue of sweat equity shares and also bonus shares concept. Section 54A of the Companies Act, not 2002, 2013. Are you remember that section 54A of Companies Act? In case of section 54A of Companies Act, okay, sir, of Companies Act 2013, what we have studied, 54 is simple statistically related. Bonus shares is there, but exception. Notwithstanding anything is contained in the act. Classes over at section 110. Sir, you know about section 110. Section 110 of the Companies Act 2013. Or you remember this? The companies transact the business other than prescribed businesses. This postal ballots. We will discuss later in case of management and administration. There you can clearly understand. Notwithstanding, you should mention this overriding effect. Okay, sir. Subjected to mention, subjected to means you are not giving more importance to the means priority one. This is all about the words we are using in this particular means. These are all the things we have studied. And also, sir, whenever in case of deed, so you are preparing the deeds, sir. Deed in the sense a document is evidence, no document. So in case of document, so many ways you are using the one word. Suppose partner word is you can use. So out of entire document, wherever the partner word used, the partner word is having same meaning. Obviously, sir. Whenever you can mention the means any word in the document, the word one word, similar word is mentioned in the document, entire pura document mein. Wherever the word is having same meaning in the all the word, all the areas whenever you are using the word. Whereas, so this is all about, this is the concept related to the interpretation of statute. Institute means institute in last previous examination questions, what they can ask in the examination, then we'll go through with that what the questions they're asking in the examination. Wait, so I will disclose it. What are the questions? What they can ask in the examination? Go through with that, then of course easily identified corporate and other laws. So it's a recently RTP revision test paper. What are the question is there? May 2021 question. इंटरप्रिटेशन स्टैट्यूट के बारे में क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस हैं? So it's an interpretation statute. The time of interpretation statute, what will be the effect and uses of customs and practices? Usage or custom and practices. Secondary rules related. Minutes. Join Saria. Wait. Wait. The loss. Preamble does not override the plan of provision comment of a suitable example. General Clauses Act, Negotiable Instrument Act, Indian Contract Act. Preamble only. Preamble does not override the plain provisions of the Act. Comment also suitable example. What there in the example is given. Preamble, scope and object were studied, no? Internal aids. You can give me 1 hour maybe the example. So examination questions will go through with the exam, last previous exam. Question papers. November 2020 question paper. So what is the external aid to interpretation? Explain how dictionary definition are external aids to interpretation. External aids to interpretation, 3 marks question. Sir. That is the only question in examination. That is the only question, sir. External aids, 3 marks, bits low, but 2-3 bits out of that. That's it. External aids and 2-3 bits. What is the next question? So the associated words to understand to common sense manner explain this statement with reference to the rule of interpretation. Associated word. Question paper is not visible. The associated words understand the common sense manner explain the statement with reference to the rules of interpretation. Just now we had discussed.